Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to Finalcut Presents the Director's Cut Podcast. I'm J. Joe Jameson. We had a completely different intro planned, but you want to know what happened? The superhero community attempted to silence me, your one true voice of freedom, J. Joe Jameson. You want to know why? Because we got out about our podcast, we got about 10, 15 minutes in, and you want to know what happened? All of a sudden, the internet crashed. The internet crashed out of the UK. Now, how in blazes do you think they know that they broadcast out of the UK and Canada? Those are two different countries, two different continents even. My goodness gracious, how do you think they know? Spider-Man, he's a threat, he's a menace, and he needs to be stopped. Here on the Spider-Man Stopping Defense Force, we have the one, the only, the man whose opinion is as cold as black as his soul, and as great as his intros are, because if you don't like his intros, you are crazy. You are crazy and you are stupid. The LA Lakers fan, the LeBron James nut hugger, Dean Connolly.
I find that quite insulting you just said that.
And the man who loves Spider-Man, because, oh my goodness gracious, Spider-Man raised his children. Spider-Man is what he puts on Netflix to make Lucian calm down. Spider-Man is who he wants Helena to take to the prom. I don't know why. He's absolutely insane. I don't know why you keep him employed, Dean, but we keep him employed. We love him anyway. We love him just like I love my son, the astronaut, who, by the way, is better than Spider-Man in every conceivable way. You wonder why? Because he's a true hero. He's a true hero. He's not a threat. He's not a menace. Anyway, Spider-Man's number one fan, Michael Fraser.
Thank you. Also, Jonah, he did save you a few times. Saved your paper enough times. And your blog.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to... That's never going to...
He didn't save me. You want to know why? I let him do those things. Because if I were to do them, then people will go after my paper and me. Because I am superior to Spider-Man in every conceivable way. But you want to know what? I'm not going to fall for that. I'm a voice for the people. I'm a voice for the media. I'm a voice that cannot be silenced by anyone, especially those two shoes Avengers, those goody-goody two shoes, who I hope die in a fire, except not really die, because the world needs superheroes so long as they are complying with the law like any of your local law enforcement. Remember, firefighters, police officers, teachers, and other things are your true heroes, kids. Do not trust Spider-Man. Do not trust the Avengers. They tried to shut us down once. They won't again. Anyway, our main topic is, of course, the Avengers Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, which all we have to say is, one more day of Spider-Man? I can't even take one more minute of it. My heart won't even take it. I have to go home to my wife. I have to get heart medication every time I talk about Spider-Man. You want to know why? Because he's such a good person. Such a great person, but you want to know what? The heroic Avenger that is me, J. Joe Jameson, exposes him in the new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Expose him as a freak and a menace. Expose him for his true name, Peter Parker. But instead of taking that like a man and a hero, he decides, oh, I've got to go to Doctor Strange. I got to try to get this reversed because my friends are in danger. My family's in danger. I'm not even going to try to protect them. I'm not even going to try to go through proper law enforcement. No, I'm going to try Doctor Strange. What a jerk, that's Spider-Man. Anyway, because Spider-Man is so stupid, the world goes upside down, right side around. And we are here to talk about the implications of that today. So, gentlemen, I know you've seen the trailer. What do you think of Spider-Man and how big of a menace is he?
Firstly, would you like 5 minutes?
Well, first, it's Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home? Why? Because he's going to be there forever? In which case, this is going to be the greatest movie ever. Go and watch it, folks.
Dean, I'll let you give your opinion first because, we'll be here for a while because of me.
Yeah, we'll probably be here till the end of time, though, and you, Michael Fraser. See, even the producer agrees with me because I heard her laughing at that. No, she laughed about something else. Honestly, yeah, there is elements of One More Day. I've never read it because obviously I don't need to because these two have told me how bad it is. But I do know what the basic plot of One More Day is. And literally, this is just an alternate idea of it. Because obviously, Mephisto is not used, even though there is a Mephisto Devil sign on Peter Parker, which, by the way, there is actually in the trailer. If you look closely enough, you'll know. Now, obviously, I did discuss this before we were cut off by whatever evil forces.
Those bastards, the Avengers, trying to silence us. That's what it was.
Yep, that's it, indeed, Jonah. So there's a lot of theories going around. I mean, there's a theory going around that is that actually Doctor Strange in the trailer? Now, we should point out that as far as Spider-Man Homecoming trailer went, there was actually footage of Iron Man with Spidey in that, but the only problem is when it came to the actual movie, Iron Man was not anywhere to be seen with that specific set in the trailer. So all we can do is speculate because obviously we don't know exactly what will be in it. But the one thing we can look forward to is Alfred Molina's reprisal of one Otto Octavius, a.k.a. Dr. Octopus.
Alfred Molina? No. We can really look forward to one man's reprisal. That's J.K. Simmons as me, J. Jonah Jameson, the true hero of the whole MCU.
Yeah, but to be fair, weren't we supposed to be doing that in the last one?
I mean, yes, but I was only in the after-credit scene. I was only in the post-credit scene. Now everybody, including the people who are too impatient to look for the post-credits to see the real star, can see me front and center in the brand new Spider-Man movie, because I will not be silenced by that jerk Spider-Man. Also, Mr. Fraser, you're not doing anything right now. Give me a half-fat, no-fat vanilla latte. Pronto!
Does he even know how to make that latte you like?
No, I go to the store like anybody else.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, for God's sakes, start learning.
I live in a small town. We have Starbucks for a reason.
It's a fantastic drink.
Nah, you and Costa, Starbucks absolutely suck.
Pretty much.
So it looks like our future sponsorship from Starbucks has just well and truly gone down the drain.
No, just sponsor you to spite you.
Probably so.
You sit there straight trying to drink it and spitting it up.
Then again, the producer does love a Starbucks every once in a while, so she'll be happy. So come on then, Mr. Fraser. You are the comic book encyclopedia. I'm sorry, Jonah. This is your podcast, not mine. So I'll let you ask away.
I get it. Trying to silence me just like your hero, Spider-Man. Oh, wait a minute. Hold that cup up for a second there. Hold that cup up. Is that a Carnage cup?
It's a Carnage and a Venom cup, yes.
Oh my goodness gracious! 2 enemies of Spider-Man! What a coincidence! No wonder they tried to silence us!
I know.
We're glorifying Carnage and Venom, which, by the way, one of them had the darkest movie in all the MCU? And all of a sudden they tried to silence us? Coincidence? I think not. Remember, question your superheroes, question authority, question Spider-Man, and beat him into the ground.
Question Sony, who's delayed Let There Be Carnage till 2022, apparently.
And now here for the much more popular opinion of how good Spider-Man is and how he wants Spider-Man to take his daughter to the prom. Please welcome Michael Fraser.
So there is a storyline after One More Day, if I recall, when they end up explaining in universe how it happened that Peter remembers called A Moment in Time. So they could possibly be pulling from that, where Peter goes to Doctor Strange and ends up getting his secret identity hidden from the world, and the only person Peter actually pulls into this shield to protect him is Mary Jane, so she'll remember. And at this point, it's their relationship is really strained. So it could be possibly pulling from that storyline as well, and One More Day all combined, depending on what they're doing. Also, it looks like they're pulling a bit of Spider-Verse. Possibly could be pulling from the storyline Spider-Man, like when Peter met Miles Morales, but in this case, it's probably going to be Andrew and Tobey Maguire. There's also a theory going around because of how Tom Holland's dressed in the trailer, that suit he's wearing, that they possibly just CGI'd his head over Tobey Maguire to hide Tobey.
Maybe. Like I said, Marvel has always been quite good at misdirection in the trailers.
But the trailer looks really good. I'm pretty excited for it. I was wondering how they were going to pull this off and the consequences that were going to follow for Peter. I'm also hoping we'll see a bit of the Avengers, because I can't imagine Peter going through all this and the Avengers not testifying on his behalf.
But then again, Fraser, there's something even more possible, exciting happening in the distance.
Yep, Sinister Six.
The Sinister Six. But the only question is, who will be the sixth man or sixth woman?
All right.
I'm hoping for I'd love to see the Scorpion show up.
There's rumors that the Vulture might be the sixth one, but then again, Scorpion is there. It just depends where they are with the character at this point in time. But then again, doesn't Scorpion get created because of a certain J. Jonah Jameson?
Well, I mean, you know, there are several schools of thought on who actually created poor Max Gargan. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was my fault per se. Michael Ferguson can back me up on this. But Matt Gargan, he was an absolute crazy human being. So I thought he'd be perfect to go up against that last Spider-Man. And I may or may not have made a few mistakes. But unlike a certain web-headed freak, I can admit when I'm wrong. I have journalistic integrity.
Does J. Jonah Jameson have journalistic integrity, Fraser?
Actually, he does. For the most part, a lot of the stuff Jonah prints, he usually makes sure outside of the Slender Spider-Man is usually true outside of the Slender Spider-Man. But Jonah is actually, you see it in a couple of the books, like when Jonah actually is out there getting a story, like he's the one that puts in the work. He actually, at one point during a spectacular Spider-Man storyline, confronts his past self, but he lets it slip about Peter being Spider-Man. And of course, younger Jonah decides to out Peter. So, but at this point, Jonah does learn. When he does learn Peter's identity, it's actually a pretty interesting issue. They have like a sit down to dinner, finally confront each other, and eventually Jonah actually breaks down, because literally after he's lost pretty much everyone he cares about, the only thing he had was his hatred for Spider-Man. And when the two of them become a duo, it's actually pretty good. Like, Jonah tries to hit Peter up to do stuff, like to be a hero and everything, and like he will backseat the hell out of Peter. But my favorite scene, I think it's in Spider-Man issue 800. Peter goes to take off a safe zone and he just leaves his clothes all over the graveyard after Flash's funeral. And Jonah's there picking it up, lecturing, talking to himself about what would Peter do without him. Or when he makes deals with Peter, like for his blog, he'll be like, you can't talk crap about me for 2 months. And Jonah cuts it down to at least like 2 weeks. And he is pissed because he's calling it favors, because since Peter basically sold him selfies for like 20 plus years, he's making him basically pay him back through this.
Of course, everyone knows Spider-Man is a menace. Spider-Man's a freak. The fact that I have to work with that web-headed weirdo, that pathetic shark, rips the apartment side.
You're also family.
La 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 la! I can't hear you. La 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 la.
And by the way, Fraser, isn't John actually a fan of Spider-Man, so to speak? As in the younger, handsome, more talented John Jameson.
That's not true. My son hates Spider-Man. I ripped up all his Spider-Man posters. I did. Set them all on fire. My wife can attest to it. She was so proud of me that she said to me, "You're sleeping on the couch for 3 whole months." But I did that to protect the world from that menace Spider-Man.
Tom Holland has even said, like, if this is his last Spider-Man movie, he's more than glad to walk away at this point. Just because he's happy with how all the films have turned out.
Oh, that's it. Spider-Man quitting. Spider-Man's a quitter. Well, now we know for truth. Ladies and gentlemen, don't trust Spider-Man. Trust your local heroes. Trust your media. Trust your law enforcement. Trust us here on Final Cut Productions presents the Director's Cut Podcast, starring me, J. Jonah Jameson. Not those Avengers, not Spider-Man, not Doctor Strange, especially not that Mephisto, and none of those things that Spider-Man said to me that he wouldn't do, for me. When I asked, very nicely, I might add,
All right then, Japs. If I may, Jonah, if that's all right.
Oh, please, go ahead.
All right then. So obviously, Marvel is very secretive in its trailer. They don't always give you the finished product. So actually, let's start with Jonas, considering he is a how would we describe him? A journalistic nightmare or amazing journalist?
A hater.
The greatest media mogul of all time.
I was going to say that actually.
Thank you.
What was I going to say? All right then. So, with your expert eye or mouth, as all the Spidey fans know, which parts of a trailer do you think is faked, and which are actually going to be in the end movie, in the finished product?
Okay. Well, you remember the part about Alfred Molina showing up as Dr. Octavius?
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously going to be real.
Yeah, because
Dr. Octopus is one member of the Sinister Six, and if you're building towards the Sinister Six, you need Dr. Otto Octavius. You want to know why? Because he would crush Parker into the ground. He'd crush Spider-Man into the ground. Who's Parker? I don't know. Parker, give me a half-fat, no-fat vanilla latte.
Yeah, there's been rumors flying around that Molina has been on set filming, so that probably does add up with what has actually been said.
I can also tell you that me outing Parker is also very true. You know why? Because I am the man that people trust with the media.
And he did already do that last movie, so fair enough.
I mean, I didn't do it. Mysterio did it. Spider-Man, of course, had to go and hurt that poor warrior Mysterio.
Well, what makes you think he did do it?
I know he did. If you look at that footage, it was definitely Spider-Man.
But
if you look at that poor Mysterio, he looked shocked, he looked afraid. You can't fake those emotions. That's Michael Fraser knows.
Come on, Jonah. You of all people should know that you can fake. You can outlie a lie detector. So
what? I've never lied in my life.
No, you wouldn't because you're too busy being upset as always.
Yeah, but this is an easy solve. All they literally have to do is get Peter to use the glasses to show like what actually happens, and for the most part, and then confirm the data and everything. But that doesn't like fix the whole secret identity thing.
Yeah, everything's doable.
Spider-Man. I also believe that Spider-Man running around like a coward is completely true. In the trailer. What do I think was fake? The sincere moment between Zendaya and Tom Holland. We all know Zendaya can't act her way out of a wet paper bag. That was the best performance I've ever seen her do. Which means it must have been faked. And you want to know who actually did those scenes? Me, J. Joe Jameson. They just superimposed Zendaya's head over me.
You do know Zendaya and Tom Holland are dating in real life.
Absolutely not. Tom Holland would never fall for that person. Trust me, I've had several meetings with him.
And may I also point out to anybody who doesn't know, he dressed up as Rihanna to beat her in the lip sync battle promoting the very first Spider-Man movie. So, yeah.
There's awesome, no chemistry there whatsoever.
To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting the lip sync performance he did. And even then, Zendaya was like, what am I watching? By the way, Jonah, have you seen that lip sync battle performance by Tom Holland?
No, that was probably the best thing he ever did. You want to know why? Because he wasn't Spider-Man. No, he dressed up in Rihanna. It's one of those things where he went absolutely all out on it. Fantastic work. Anyway, what else could have been faked? Oh, yeah. Any scene with me in it without my half-fat, no-fat vanilla latte.
Yeah. The train scene looks a bit faked as well.
Yeah, I can see that too.
It actually sort of puts Doctor Strange in like the bad guy role, but I don't actually think he is. If I may harbor a very wild theory here, I actually think Mysterio might be back. There's nothing to say he's not dead. There's nothing to say he's still alive.
Well, if you take a look at Doctor Strange, and of course, Michael Fraser already pointed this out about the Mephisto symbol on Parker. Mephisto can also pretty well impersonate anyone with perfect accuracy too. So really, if you take a look at that, it's got Mephisto vibes written all over it. He could be making a deal with quote unquote Doctor Strange, but of course Parker is too stupid to even think, oh, maybe this could be this otherworldly demon who Michael Fraser sincerely loves.
Or there's a reason for all that Doctor Strange did it, even though he said, like, remember, Peter's talking all through the spell when the mishap happens.
Yeah.
But for all we know, Doctor Strange could be doing this for, like, a bigger threat reason why he needs to pull them together.
Fraser, can I just ask a very important question?
Sure.
How would Doctor Strange do his thing without the Eye of Agamotto?
All right. So we're going to have to go back in the comics. So the Eye of Agamotto does make him, like, stronger, but he's also very strong for a mortal who has a magical ability, so he doesn't exactly need the Eye of Agamotto to do most of the stuff that he does. And later on in the comics, after Earth loses its magic, he actually goes into space to pull magic from, like, different planets and stuff, basically making him more of, like, a cosmic wizard level. But because he was chosen to be Sorcerer Supreme, it's because he's actually quite gifted and he's quite powerful when it comes to magic. They've also shown the consequences of his magic. Wong actually pulls together a monastery with followers of Strange who actually take the consequences to a lot of the spells that he does. So
that's harsh, but fair at the same time. So if he doesn't have the Eye of Agamotto, what exactly is in his, I'll say his, like, necklace thing that's hanging over draping over his neck?
Well, since they had to put the stones back, it's probably empty for now. So it's probably more of just a symbolic thing since the ancient one wore it. But in the comics, the Eye of Agamotto is a completely separate thing, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't just give him the Eye of Agamotto, but I guess they had to, line it up with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So, Michael Fraser, tell me, are you excited for Spider-Man to finally be crushed?
No, I like Spider-Man.
But which Spider-Man?
Sorry?
Which Spider-Man do you like?
Yes, Mr. Fraser. Which one of them do you like?
I like all three, actually.
There's more than three?
Like, if we're talking the live... Well, actually, if we're talking the live action, there are quite a few. Because there's the Japanese Spider-Man. Then there's the one from that really bad old school movie.
And there's the one from the 70s as well, which is Nicholas Hammond, by the way.
Yep, and then, we got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland.
I kind of like Andrew Garfield's version of him.
So I like all three. So, and then, if we go into voice work,
Who was the 90s one?
His name is Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Oh, yeah, he was my best. He's the one I sort of got into Spidey animation with, so I haven't really seen anything, but I know you two are big fans of Josh Keaton.
Yeah, Josh Keaton. There's Laurie Athol. We don't mention the other voice actor. So
what do you mean? What other one?
The one.
The one with Josh. That one. The one with Josh.
Yes, the one with Josh. Not Josh Keaton, but, the other Josh.
Yeah, the other Josh.
The other Josh.
His name's Josh. Nobody needs to know who he is, because then you'll find out who the actual actor for Spider-Man was. And you want to know what? It's not good. It's not a good rabbit hole to go into, let me tell you that. But you can watch Final Cut Presents the Director Cuts podcast on Michael Fraser's biggest torture when he had to write the Spider-Man from worst to best for voiceover work in video games. And we threw in the 3 most recent live-action Spider-Man.
Yeah, we did.
And you could watch all that. You can hear all that already on all of our major streaming platforms.
Part of me would love to see the Japanese Spider-Man appear in the movie and summon Leopardon, but I don't think that will happen. There's a rumor he might be in Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse too, though.
It might very well be.
Because Dan Slott wrote him into the comics, and apparently he was pretty hyped when he finally got to use him for it.
Yeah. Is there anything else we can go about from the trailer, chaps, or shall we just end it at that? Aside from it looks like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin's back.
Well, yeah, if you look at the pumpkin bomb.
Well, there's a rumor about that since the actor who played Ned dropped all that weight. They think that they might have him put on a Hobgoblin costume.
Yeah, I should point out, I do actually know this, that there was rumors. Doesn't Ned go to be in the Hobgoblin in the comics?
Yep, he gets manipulated by the original Hobgoblin. And, a certain Star Wars character also voiced the Hobgoblin in a certain animated Spider-Man series, so...
Well, we don't talk about him.
Oh, yes.
Don't talk about him whatsoever. He did much better in DC.
Even J. Jonah Jameson likes this man.
He did much better in DC. You can tell him that. But you want to know what? He is a hero and a villain. But you want to know what? Unlike Spider-Man, he doesn't hide it. He's Mark Hamill. Thank you so much, J. Jonah Jameson. Pleasure to be here. Anyway, yes, I did voice Hobgoblin way, way back in the day, let me tell you. Christopher Daniel Bonds couldn't hold a candle to me. And let me just say, I'm looking forward to manipulating Ned if that's the way I go. Ned is such a loser. Everyone thinks so.
Sorry.
That's your best friend, Petey boy? Come on, trade up. You're Spider-Man, for God's sake. You want to know who I think would be a good friend for that Parker? That Flash Thompson. What a guy. I don't know, he's a bit too jockey, and he loves Spider-Man a bit too much. Why don't we get somebody a little less loving and caring of Spider-Man? You want to know who I think would be a good friend for him? That Mel Appleton. Oh my God, she'd be perfect. She knows nothing about Spider-Man.
Yeah, she does.
Spider-Mel, friendly neighborhood Spider-Mel, spins a web. What's a web? Oh my God, Mel.
He's also Spider-Man in a universe, Flash Thompson, and I'm pretty sure he's also Spider-Man in a What If story. Of course, he's Captain Spider in one universe, so.
Who knows, maybe.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da. Da, 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 da.
We here at Final Cut Presents the Director's Cut Podcast want to thank all of you for watching and listening to J. Jonah Jameson love the crap out of Spider-Man. He's his favorite person in the world. Shut up! I don't love Spider-Man. I hate Spider-Man. He's a menace. He's a freak. You're wearing the suit. There you go, flip. That's it. It's gotta go. Flip.
Fraser, I think JJ's off his medication. Shall we end it there and then?
Probably.
Yeah, let's end it there and then before J. Jonah becomes J. Jonah again. Right. Thank you everyone for listening, watching, however you're listening to us. As usual, we appreciate every single one of you. And for those who have left reviews of our podcast, and it's actually been more than 3 stars or 4 stars even, we just like to say thank you very much. And I'm so grateful for all the reviews. So with that being said, on my social now, I'm mainly on Twitter and Insta now, so you can find me on Final Cut Talk and Final Cut Official on Twitter and Instagram respectively. And as far as our other podcast, you will find me doing a fair bit of Twitter on Body Slams and Dropkicks. Mr. Fleaser!
You can find me on Twitter talking comics and pro wrestling.
And his love of Bill Goldberg.
And my hatred of Bill Goldberg.
His love of Bill Goldberg.
That Matt Riddle says he can beat up. and same with Roman Reigns. But you can also find me on TikTok at Beautiful Michael. You can find me on the other Twitter at Body Sense Dropcast. You can find me on the other Twitter at Gokai Studios. You can also find me writing series performed by Nathan Tasker, who unfortunately isn't here at the moment, who voices Phil Woods in The Adventures of Phil Woods, and he was preparing for the I Was Living voice actor before I got bit, and another series that's coming, which is about dwarf exterminators who get sent in to clean up lairs after the villains are defeated.
Oh boy, that sounds like a lot of hard work.
You can find me, ladies and gentlemen, at the Daily Bugle, where I, J. Joe Jameson, am ensuring integrity, honesty, and most importantly, high paper prices in New York and all the major New York areas. You can also find me on www.deathpixie.ca. If you want to talk to me about voiceover work or you want to commission me for some of your own stuff, www.deathpixie.ca. You can also find me writing, directing, and co-hosting Spider-Man, Where Art Thou, Spider-Man, featuring Michael Fraser as J. Jonah Jameson.
If his voice will hold out.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can also find me doing what I do best on Nowhere. But you want to know why? Because social media is just crazy propaganda for Spider-Man. And if I were to ever show up, me having a fair and balanced opinion of that menace would be absolutely destroyed by everyone in the world. So please, remember, your law enforcement, your teachers, your doctors, anything was more trustworthy than Spider-Man. Question everything you know.
But since we've heard from Mr. J, would he like to plug Dr. J?
Oh, yes, of course. Out of the way, Jonah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dr. J's Self-Help will be returning very, very shortly. We've got a few great things planned, so be ready for lots of laughs and lots of help. Also, and lots of torture of a person named Dr. Catherine Hoffman-Ewell. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and loving our podcast and loving our shows. We couldn't do this without you.
Yeah, take what he said, just ignore the laughing part. Just before we go, I would like to say I have actually watched He's All That this week. It stars Addison Rae and I think is it Tanner Buchanan from Cobra Kai phrase?
I haven't watched it, so.
No, it's got is it Tanner Buchanan who's in Cobra Kai? Plays Johnny Lawrence's kid. Is his name Tanner or Tamer Buchanan?
I have no idea what his actor name is.
It's one of those anyway. Well, I'll say this: it's a redo of She's All That. I don't think it's as good. It is worth a bit of a laugh. It is a bit of a laugh. Mainly, you'll only watch it for two reasons. One, Matthew Lillard, who does a great cameo in it, and Addison Rae. Aside from that, don't even bother watching it for an hour and a half. It's just not as good. But if you want to watch it for Matt Lillard and Addison Rae, by all means. But that's the only reason you're watching it for.
Would you want to say Zoinks, Dean?
Zoinks!
Zoinks!
There you go. Oh, sorry, J. Jonah. Would you like to finish? Would you like to lead us out this once?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, listening, and taking everything that we say at Finalcut Presents the Director's Podcast. I at Finalcut Presents the Director's Podcast verbatim. I didn't make an error. You all made an error. You all made an error by listening to us here today. This is 45 minutes or 50 minutes or 60 minutes. This show will never get back. Go outside. Do something fun. Me, for example, I'm going to go do lots and lots of fun things involving my love of torturing Spider-Man and making his life absolutely miserable. Go do something you love today.
And they say journalists aren't exactly perfect. Well, we've just proven that that's actually right.
J. Jonah Jameson, signing off. J. Jonah Jameson, signing off. Oh, wait, I have control. Oh, my God. What the hell? Oh, my
journalism.
I have control. I am the world's greatest photographer ever. I'm also the world's greatest chairman and most eligible bachelor. Tweet me at www.ilovejameson.com. This is J. Joe Jameson signing off.